we're more scared of the potential failure than things that actually fail. Because things that fail, we learn from. We never actually fail, but the thought of failure is what keeps us up,
Right.
is what makes us sick to our stomachs. Like we're letting down our employees, we're letting down our children, we're letting down each other. I think the potential to fail is the scariest part.
Young Junk!
Hello, welcome to Path to Possible. We have probably one of the hardest interviews I'm ever going to do on this show. I have my wife, the owner of Elegance Cafe and Bakery. They have 2 locations, which is awesome. I am actually nervous. I'm really scared to actually say anything. I am. Welcome to the show, Madeleine Sage, owner of Elegance Cafe. How are you?
And how are you?
I am good. So look, your path was not to own a bakery. No. Tell me what you were going to do from college on. Let's just talk about that a little bit, and then we'll go into the bakery.
Sure. So I graduated with a degree in business, which could go anywhere.
Mhm.
No experience, no internships, nothing like that. I got a job at a law firm to start, and then went on to a digital marketing company. I think I told you on our first date, or one of the first dates, that I wanted to stay home and raise our babies.
I don't think I remember that. I would have remembered that. And this is why we did the round table. We were doing the chairs, and Dylan did a great job. But I did a round table because we wanted to be like Jada Pinkett and Will Smith and do like a round table and kind of really talk. This is where we're going to hash out all of our issues.
Gosh,
I'm only
hear
kidding.
that.
Only kidding. We're not going to hash out any issues. Just want to talk about business and how this path going into a bakery / cafe, right?
Never a thought in my mind.
And neither did I.
No, and it landed in our laps, and it's been a journey, it's been our path, it's been working. But yeah, originally I never saw myself as a business owner. Never pursued that way. I was project manager. I enjoyed the planning of a project, the seeing something through beginning to completion, short month, 6-month, year time frames. Planning our wedding, getting ready to have kids, having children at home. That was fun for me.
Mm.
We did real estate, that kind of slowed down, and this was our next step.
Right. The one thing that I know, I had about 10 years on you mentally, maybe 20 years mentally, going into business.
We would sit there and you would say, what business should we start?
Um,
What business should we buy? What do people need that we can provide, that we can come up with this business? Someone just came up with this idea. I mean, all the kids' toys and all the different games and ideas that things would do. We're like,
Yeah.
why wasn't that us?
Right.
Where do we do this? Let's create a tree stand.
Yeah.
You have been wanting to own a business and create something since I met you, before I met you.
Absolutely. And I kind of feel bad because I feel like I pushed you into this, but at the same time, real estate gave us one of the best gifts, is that you were able to stay home with the kids and still work.
Right.
Because obviously you married a loser who could not pick up every bit of the
That we had.
the bills, the debt.
The bills weren't the thing.
Yeah,
Yes, it was. Yes.
Yeah. So coming into your own, I feel like you're starting to dig it with the business, and you're starting to become a real entrepreneur at this point. You're bringing up a lot of ideas. You're going forth with a lot of business ideas. So, or not just business ideas, more of like a leadership, a role. And being a leader of your kids is one thing, and they make us pivot
In business, well, in life, yes.
in life. Yeah. And owning a business is just like being a parent. You know, you have to pivot. You have to be a leader.
So what I tell people when they are having their first kid is that you grow with them.
Mhm.
You start as a baby. You don't just get a 2-year-old and have to figure it out. You grow with them. It's their first time being a kid. It's your first time being a parent. You learn together. And we did. And that's how it was with kids. You know, we grew with our children each stage, and each stage is even better. And we are enjoying each phase of that. I think purchasing an established business obviously comes with the pros of things are in place. You know, I don't have to create the concept. I don't have to get the followers. I don't have to build something from the ground up.
The customer base is there.
Right.
Yeah.
And I mean, we did. We have an amazing business. We had amazing staff when we came on who stayed. And the staff knew what they were doing, and it was easy. You know, we came in, they're like, okay, they knew what they were doing.
Mhm.
But it also comes with its hardships of that you don't feel that ownership right away. You know, where's your place in the business?
Mm.
They want you there. They want to see you, which is great. And you see all over. You know, you can't work on the business when you're working in the business. And I think I got pulled into that. So when I'm there, I want to jump in.
Mhm.
I want to be part of the team. I want to be there for them. But it makes it difficult to plan ahead and make the next steps and take the step back to say, where can we improve? Um, and I think change is hard for anyone. So
Yeah.
especially technology now.
Yeah.
You know, trying to get them up on board with, you know, we can order things online. We can talk to the 2 stores through iPads instead of calling and creating the extra hassle with that. But we're learning together now.
I love it. I love the fact that you said we, right? So just like as parents and just like a business owner, you need a solid number two, right? And not a poop. Like you need a solid number two person next to you and a partner in crime.
Hmm.
You know, like I in the first episode I talked about Calvin.
Right.
Calvin, I don't know what it was. Like he was not a number two when I bought the business.
Hmm.
But me and him created such a bond that we broke bread after like on off hours. You
Hmm.
know, we broke bread with our families. We introduced them to our kids. We introduced them. He introduced us to Kay,
Hmm.
and it was a beautiful thing. It was amazing, and he bit in with as a parent. You need a number two, right? So obviously you're number one. I'm always going to be number two.
There's 2 of us.
And there are two of
There's
us,
2 of them.
but you're number one, and I'm number two,
Hmm.
always. Uh, but in business, you're gonna need that. So in in the cafe or the bakery, are do you have a number two that can you brought in yet, or not yet?
So I feel also, you know, going back to having an established business and something that someone else has built.
Mhm.
You know, Calvin wasn't the number 2 then because the old owner was his own man. It's hard, and watching our friends who create their own businesses now as well. Once you're that hands-on
Mhm.
and everything is yours, it's hard to delegate. It's hard to give up that ownership of something that you know you can do better, that you created and no one else can do.
Right.
So I think in both the garage and the bakery businesses, the previous owners were very hands on, very did not need the number 2 because they ran every aspect of the business from the customer base to the scheduling to the actual work. They did it all. Um, and we made it clear from the beginning we were not going to be that hands on. There were people in place that were doing those positions, and while we were there to support, we wanted to grow the businesses as well and do what was best to support them.
Mm.
And we told them, you need knives, you need whatever. Like we
Mm.
will get you what you need to be better at your job. And we did. We tried to bring in managers, tried to get someone so that when I couldn't be there for the day to day, they felt supported and they felt, you know, someone was there for them. But I think that was a challenge in itself too, because people think manager, I'm going to go, you know, I'm going to talk to this customer. I'm going to go make sure everyone's doing their jobs, but never wanted to jump in and be hands-on themselves.
Mm.
Um, and nobody else did it the way that the existing staff does it.
Right.
They have a way, they've done it for years, and they don't want someone to tell them otherwise. So I don't think we found a great fit yet for someone. And I don't know that that's ever going to happen. It's such a small production and such a good team that I don't think they need to be micromanaged. I think we just need the right people in place to do the work and support the team.
Right.
So, when hiring for a new position, like I want, as corny as it may sound, but a team member,
Mm.
Someone who's willing to jump in, someone who's willing to cross train and do different aspects of everything.
Right.
Just because it is a small building, a small staff, it's fun when people can, we have new people start and they're like, I can bake the cookies. You can bake the cookie. Yes.
Yeah,
If the
absolutely.
cookies need to be baked and you have 5 minutes or 10 minutes, you can go in the back and do that.
Now, let me ask you this. I'm going to get real weird with you on this one. Now, being a woman-owned business
hmm
and going from working in an office environment with a big corporation,
hmm
would you rather an office husband or work wife or work
Okay.
husband? Sorry,
I see
not an
where you're
office
going.
husband. Yeah. So would you rather work with it? Like if your number two is a dude or a woman,
hmm
do you think it would be better? Do you think you would build a friendship with a girl, or do you think you would build a friendship better with a male?
I don't have time for any of that. No, I'm just kidding.
Nah.
No, but honestly, I think, I don't think the gender in that case matters in
Okay.
the bakery per se.
Yeah.
I think we have a pretty even staff of both, and they're all willing to help at this point and are able to do their jobs. So as long as I can trust them to show up on time and get the work done, I don't see me having a relationship like you have with Calvin. Like you have a smaller team, you have a close knit staff.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely gay for Calvin. Like
Sorry, Calvin.
no, seriously.
Sorry, Kay.
Like look. So I mean, we
That's
all.
fine. You have an amazing relationship with Calvin.
Yeah.
I love everyone at the bakery. I think I have an amazing staff. But the work-life balance that I've, strived for,
Mhm.
I want my relationship with you. I want my relationship with the kids. We always joked working corporate and everyone going out for happy hours after work, and you work 9 to 5 with these people and then you go out to happy hour for 2 hours after work. It's like, I want to go home. I've spent all day with you people. I want to go home to my family. I want to go home to my husband.
Right.
That's not that I don't enjoy spending time with those people. But I think my staff would feel the same way too. Like they work long hours and
Mhm.
when they're done, they want to go home.
Absolutely.
So no, I think that's what we had envisioned and had hoped for and still hope for. The ability to be home with the kids before they get on the bus, the ability to get them off the bus,
Right.
go to the sports games, have that balance. With it comes its own stress. No, we don't work the traditional 9 to 5. But when you work 9 to 5, you might not be up at 3 in the morning stressing over,
Well-
did we do that order? Do we make enough money today?
This is where a lot of issues come into play with aspiring leadership or aspiring entrepreneurs or people who want to just go into the workplace.
Mhm.
They see the fun, right? And it's just like it's like a dopamine rush
Mhm.
for a hot minute. And then you realize that when you go to work and you have that number two or your work wife or your work husband, and what people are seeing is everybody having fun at first.
Mhm.
And then all of a sudden your work husband goes get married in real life. Right. And then you get to the point where you're like, oh my God, I'm not like I was going
I'm
to
not his number 1.
I'm not his number one. Now I'm his like number 3 after or number 4 after kids.
Mhm.
And then you get to the point where you're like, oh my goodness, what am I doing? And now work is the vacation period is over, right? Whether you move to a new area, right?
Mhm.
The vacation period or the honeymoon
The
ends.
honeymoon phase, sure.
Yeah, the honeymoon phase
Well,
ends.
and I think other people see, they see what they want to see from us and think like, oh, they have it so
Mm,
easy. They don't go into the office every day. They can, take their kids here. They can do this with them. They can go to the school events. They don't see the side. They don't see the sleepless nights and the early mornings and the all of that stuff. But I mean, it was the same with real estate.
mm.
You got your real estate license and everyone, oh, we can do real estate too. It's easy.
Oh yeah.
And we did make it look easy.
Because if Mike can do it, anybody can
If
do
Mike
it.
can do it, anyone can.
That's right. And rule number 6 or success tip number 6: make it look easy.
I'll have to find out number 1 through 5.
1 through 5, I still don't know what
Okay.
they are. I always just go on success tip number 6.
All right.
Make it look easy.
Yeah.
And when you talk to people, it's the same across the board. You could sit there and you could talk to your neighbor and you're like, oh, how's everything going? Everything's great. And you could talk to your friends and your best friend who you think is doing great.
They have it all together.
But the thing is, they're not calling you at 3 in the morning, 2 in the morning, the witching hour
Right.
of when people have, they'll go down. Sometimes they'll make a drink. Sometimes they'll make a tea. Sometimes they'll make coffee. Or sometimes they'll just literally just
Sit on the couch and cry.
sit on the couch and cry. Right.
That's what someone said. They said, you look like you're never stressed. You're never yelling. You're never anxious. I'm like, it's like a duck underwater. You don't see it.
Yeah. That's because
You
the
can
husband takes the
assume
brunt.
that
The
you can
husband,
assume that it's like that.
yeah, the husband takes the brunt of all that.
Right.
But also the
Just like
wife.
pregnancy. I know.
Look,
Yes.
I seen
You
you
suffered.
during pregnancy.
You suffered.
I did.
Yeah.
You didn't. That was nothing.
I know.
Pregnancy is absolute monstrous that you guys can sit there and say that you went through anything bad. Look, try waking up with 2 babies and the mom needs to sleep.
Sign me up.
Only kidding. Only kidding. Only kidding.
No, but yeah, making it look easy and just going with it because you can stress over something, but you still have to do it. It just like babies.
Yeah.
They still need you. So you
Mhm.
need to get up and you need to take care of the baby. The businesses still need you. So you can have your moment,
Mhm.
you can get upset, and you can move on.
So your path on to this possible entrepreneurship that
Mhm.
you
Never saw coming.
never saw coming, but it actually helped.
Yeah.
What could you say to like aspiring entrepreneurs that really want to get into this, or somebody who was kind of in it and they
Mhm.
didn't know? Like what would you say? What would be the first thing that you would want them to learn? Because obviously you got to learn. You got to start reading.
You do. And I liked Lou's advice of telling you like plan. Make a plan, make a plan, make a plan.
Mm.
And we did. We had to make plans.
Yeah.
We had to make financial plans. We had to write business plans. We had to do a lot of research. But when it comes down to it, it's how I feel college was. Like I could go to all the classes, I can read all the books.
Mm.
You don't know until you're in it.
Right.
You're not going to get that hands-on experience. Every real estate deal, we had the most interesting and sometimes hard things you never would have heard of before, but you don't know how to handle something until you come across it.
Mm.
So you can plan, and you should. I mean, you should definitely have your money in place and
Make a
your plan
and
in
God
place. But
laughs.
you make a plan and God laughs. So you have to be able to, like you said earlier, pivot.
Mm.
You have to be able to keep going. And I think that's the hardest part is knowing you're going to be kicked down and you're going to be on the ground and you have to get up and you have to pick up the sleeping, crying baby, or you have to, go into the work because nobody showed up that day. And just keep going and know that, you may have a really bad day today. You might have an amazing day tomorrow.
Yeah.
And there's, finding the good things, finding, what keeps you going, going into the bakery and stuff like that. It's great. I love being with the staff. I love being there. I love seeing the customers.
Mm.
People love seeing you there.
Right.
And they get happy. And, I know the owner. It's like, don't tell people I'm the owner. I don't
It-
like that. I'm just part of the team. I
it's
don't want the acknowledgement of that. But I do. I want to work on the back end. I want to make it easier for people that are there. I want to make it better. I want to grow. I want to, be able to build it into something even better than it already is.
mm,
Um, and that's really just to keep going. It's going to get hard, and
right.
you have no other choice.
Absolutely. So one of the things that I started when I got out of college, it was hard to find work,
Mhm.
and I went to a job at Verizon, and the lady before me, whose position I took, she left this like silver bar
Did
on
it
her.
say run?
It should have said run, but it said, "What would you do if you knew you couldn't fail?" And if you knew that we wouldn't fail, like, would there be a lot of stress on you at all?
I think no. I think if we were promised tomorrow and promised, the money would be there and promised the staff would be there and promised the customers would be there, you don't know. But the idea that you can't fail and to keep pushing through it and just to try and just do something.
Well, I mean, it would take a lot of the stress off, right? So
Yeah.
being a parent is really hard. It's probably one of the most stressful things that I've ever felt. But it's
Traumatized
also
them and ruined them for life.
yeah, right. But it's also the most rewarding thing
Mhm.
I've ever done in my life. And COVID was a curse and a damn blessing at the same time.
Amazing.
We had an amazing time. I mean,
Yes, I won't. The people went through
honestly,
hardships. Yes.
and there's a lot of people that went through hardships, and I don't ever wish that on anybody.
Yeah.
But what I really enjoyed about it, which you know, I was surprised with myself because in a time of shit and terror, I was able to find
Mhm.
the happiness side of it, and see my kids every
I know.
day, and it like I was able to work, have a great job,
Mhm.
and
Be home.
see my kids and be home. You know, eating lunch at home is a whole lot different than eating lunch at work
At work
because
lunch.
you literally just smelled the curry that came out of the microwave on the last
Mhm.
employee that was next to you or your colleague. And or you're sitting there watching somebody scarf down like a nice bowl of spaghetti and meatballs, and you're sitting there with a salad because your wife wants you to be healthier, and you sit there and you're like, oh man, what do you
What do
got
you
over
have?
there?
You want to go out to
Right?
lunch?
Yeah, yeah. Like there's a Burger King down the street. Like let's go.
No, I think COVID was as scary and uncertain as it was, and it was. It was a very uncertain time. We were fortunate because our kids were little. They
Yeah.
were 2 and 4. They didn't know the outside world at all. We were able to keep that from them, and we went outside a lot. We took a lot of walks, and you were home.
Yeah.
And
I
it was
mean,
amazing having you home and having you with the kids, and they got used to seeing you. You got used to seeing them.
mhm.
And it's like, "Okay, how can I do this full time?"
And then the minute
Like, now I understand why you wanna be home with your kids.
and then the minute Abby started getting on that bus, I'm like, I don't want to miss this. I I don't want to miss this.
Yeah.
I don't understand what it was. Like I should like I didn't even like Abby in the first 6 months. And then all of a sudden she grew to be my best
Person.
friend.
She's a person.
Yeah,
Yeah.
not a person, she's my daughter.
But
I'm
she's
kidding.
yes,
I'm kidding.
became a person.
But no, she became a person and she's my world and Landon's my world and you're my world, but I was able to have that.
Mhm.
But as entrepreneurs, if we're able to work our hardest
Mhm.
and be able to do this with our kids. There's a lot of entrepreneurs who lose their marriages because it's I got to be at the studio or I got to be at the office or I got to be at
And
the
sometimes they
store.
do. Yeah.
Yeah, and I didn't want that. I sat there and was like, this is going to be the hardest part for us is that I want to be a father. I want to be a husband and I want to be an entrepreneur.
And now I wanna be home.
How can I do this? And with a person with you sharing this, right? Having a back and forth, and our meetings at 6 in the morning are probably one of my favorite times in the world. But I do want to get into routine. What's the best routine that you could sit there and tell aspiring people with kids and a business and a husband who is absolutely more stressful on you than your business and your
Yes.
kids? Yeah, because I'm the biggest baby. I
Yes.
mean, I
I know
will
it.
I will take that on.
Mhm.
I appreciate that. But how do you manage with your routine in the morning? Is it coffee right away?
Yes.
Is it brush your teeth right away? You know, is it a vodka
No.
right away, you know?
Definitely brush your teeth right away, but, and then coffee. But no, and I think it's something we still strive for.
Yeah.
You know, we talk about, okay, here's our plan. Again, God laughs at us, but
Mm,
we wanna wake up. We wanna have our minute. We wanna work out, get a quick workout in before the kids wake up.
mm,
Sit down and have a minute, have a coffee, talk about where are you going today? Where am I going today? What do we need to talk about? What do we need to check off our list? There's still a long list we do have to get to. Um, and I think that you pivot. Abby wakes up at 5 instead of 7. Now we're dealing with her, which she's easy, but it throws us off. Or we had a late night with the kids the night before, and we don't feel like waking up at 5 to work out.
right,
So yeah, we will strive and we will plan, and I think having a routine does make us better, does help us, and making time for us to talk. You know, you don't want to overschedule everything. You don't want to overschedule a relationship or say, you know, we're going to have dinner at this time, and
right,
me and you are going to have this time. Um, but striving for that and making the time to have those conversations and say, okay, here, let's talk about what we need to talk about for the house. What's going on with the house? Okay, next, what do we have to talk about for the businesses? What's the garage doing? What's the bakery doing? You know, do we have an audit we need to finish? You know, who's going to the bank today? Figuring that out. And then, okay, where are the kids?
right.
Landon has a game here, Abby has a game here, and they have off school. You know?
Is it possible to make your kids part of your routine? So like if you wake up at 5:30
Mhm.
and you start working out at 6, right? After you brush your teeth and get everything rocking and rolling, and in between sets you go and do their lunch.
Mhm.
But if they wake up, because we do have kids who wake up at 5:30 or 6 o'clock and they're like, "Oh, I'm up. I'm ready for the day." Uh, it's possible to actually put them
Yeah.
into your routine and say, "All right, we're going to do our workout and you're going to do your workout as well."
And I think they love that.
Yeah.
So I think, you know, I mean, even Abby with her smoothies now.
Mm.
You know, she can get the blender out, she can get the yogurt out, she can get the fruit. Like she can make her own smoothie. She enjoys doing her workout. She enjoys stretching and doing the bands and stuff like that. And I think that's on us more. It's like we want our minute, we want our time, we want our time with just the two of us. But the more you're able to accept and pivot and you know continue, you know you have to keep going and accept that into your life.
Right.
Like she wants to wake up and have breakfast. Great. Well, I'm going to finish doing this. Why don't you go make a smoothie? Or we're in there working out. You can jump in.
Right.
And they would love that. They
Oh,
do love that when
yeah, I
they
was
do
gonna
wake
say
up.
they
And that
really
happens
dig it.
when we're actually on our routine and on our schedule and embracing them
Right.
and not like, oh, you woke up so early, go back to bed. We just wanted to talk
and
about
that's
you.
and that's all.
It throws us off.
As parents, we sit there and we get so upset when they
Throw us
wake
off.
up and it's like, that's our time.
It's not the plan.
Go to bed. No, 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 no. If we incorporate that,
Yeah.
it helps as business owners. It
helps
helps
them.
as parents, and it helps them
Helps them.
tremendously because they will see what's going on. And Dylan, I don't know if you could do this, but we've been saying pivot a lot today. You got to bring up the Friends clip when he's sitting there screaming, "Pivot, pivot,
Pivot! Pivot!
what was it? Matthew Perry was like, "Shut up, shut up, shut up."
Shut up! Shut up!
Sometimes yell.
So I mean, we could do everything in our power to be the best versions of ourselves.
Mhm.
But why do we hide? Like, as parents, we hide these best versions of ourselves because we keep saying, be a
Tomorrow.
kid.
Yes. We'll
Be
do
a
it tomorrow.
kid. No, no. Don't be just a kid. Be a kid, have fun. But enjoy, like,
But I
wake up, stretch.
I do think
like, let's walk.
yes, and
You
I
know?
do think we do incorporate our kids like that. Like they love taking walks with us. They
Mm.
love seeing that. And we don't, we can, tell them to go in the other room if we're having a more serious conversation, but we also don't hide a lot of our lives from them. They see day in, day out. They see what we do. They know what we do. I mean, Abby is 8 years old and has had at least 3 businesses.
Yeah. Can't wait to have her on the show.
She is a little like, she makes me uncomfortable. Like that's out of my comfort zone. She's like, I want to go sell bracelets on the street. I'm like, "Oh, maybe tomorrow. Like I don't want to hold her back, but it's also, that's she gets that from you
Well,
if she wants it.
One of the best stories I have for Abby is that when she was doing her bracelet business, so there was a what was it, the Cougar Challenge or something at school,
Mhm.
and she had to raise $200. I said, well, if you work and like you do things for the neighbors and you ask them, I said it's $1 to take their trash cans back, or $2 to take their trash cans out. I was like, you could do these things, and she did the bracelets,
Mhm.
and I told her that I would match whatever she made.
We have amazing neighbors.
And we have amazing neighbors, an amazing
Family.
family, and also an amazing postal service workers who
Yes.
stopped by and dropped off $20 for her bracelet or her seashells.
Yes.
One of the best parts was I told her that I would match it,
Mhm.
and she only needed $200. She raised $136,
Mhm.
and I gave her the 100 to match, and she was like, I made $136.
Call you out. Where's the rest?
Where's the extra
Get it back.
$36? And I was like, oh man, I love that. So then she started another business. Or I think it was the same business. Maybe it was the bracelets, and she set up a table and chairs, and the neighbors were coming by, and she was making them. She made Uncle Pop Pop one.
Yes.
She goes, well, are you going to match this? I said, no, that was only if you did the thing for your schools to raise money for awareness. I forget what
like a 401k matching plan.
Yeah. And I said no. And she goes, well, I guess I'm just going to have to raise my prices then. Because now she is really on cue
Yes.
about buying a shore house.
I was going to say, she's now on to, you told her she needed X amount of money for a shore house, and that is her new goal.
And she wants to raise $20,000 a month. And I'm like,
Mhm.
oh, honey, that's cute. I was like, I can't even do that. I was like, I own 2 businesses.
$1,000 bracelet that she
right?
strung together.
And you know what's funny? The funny thing is, I really think she could get that if she really charged
she
that.
could push for that. But she's also the one that, I think there was a lemonade stand that they were outside and $1 for it or free if you have no money. So they were yelling at people walking or driving or whatever, offering this lemonade for $1, but they were also willing to give it to you for free if you didn't have any money.
She got too big of a heart.
She's like me. And I do, I also, in business, I think that she's each of us because she has that drive, she has that passion, but she's soft like me and has the potential to get walked all over.
Oh, no. I don't think anybody's going to walk over her.
She won't. She'll learn from that. But
And
that's been one of the hardest things is getting a backbone,
right.
And
it's probably like a teacher. You remember when we were kids and we were in school and the teachers wouldn't believe any of the stories that we had, but we like probably 5% of them were true.
But when you brought stories home from home?
No, when you brought stories that like, why didn't you bring your homework?
Oh.
The
dog ate it.
Yeah, the dog ate it.
Could have been true. My mom threw it out.
I know. Yeah. And what's funny is that as parents, now you start to realize, oh, we threw that out.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't the dog that ate it. And then we're not going to ridicule our kids for things that we did. But the teachers heard every excuse in the book. So like our poor daughter is going into school with an excuse of my parents threw it out. And she's like, uh, you're in trouble. I'm going to reach out to your parents. And now you have to redo this all again. Here's the new packet. And I feel bad because we literally we set her up for a bad success day at school because school you got to act like it's a business as well.
Mhm.
And there's certain things
And you tell her.
yeah.
So this is your job.
This is your job,
You don't want to go to school. This is your job. What happens if I don't do my job?
right? If I don't do my job, you do my job, and that's fine. But that's why every morning when we wake up and I'm like, Matt, I got 0 for you, and you're like, all right, I got 100, I guess. 100%. Like, so if you sit there and tell me like, hey, I'm not feeling well today, I'm like, all right,
Gotta get on
well,
lunches.
I'm gonna go get a vodka and I'm gonna give you 150% today.
And I think that that's what's helpful. And I think having, a life partner and a business partner, you have someone there to back you up. So when it's hard and you're stressed about something, like whether we talk it through right away, or I just need to sit for a minute, or you need to vent, or we need to figure something out together, we have that. Same thing, family, business, whatever. You're not feeling great, I'm not feeling great. We back each other up. And you have to be able to be on. And I think for whatever reason it is, it does work out that way where it's like you're having a really bad day, I'm having a really good day. So like now my energy is enough to keep me up when you need a minute to not be there, because you're not going to have up days. You're going to have down, you're going to have low, you're going to have rock bottom days where you don't feel like going to the next step. You don't feel like keep pushing through. And to have someone that's there that's like, okay, well, my day just got a little bit drugged down, but at the same time, I'm up here. So now I can keep you afloat. Like you're not going to be completely drowned. You can have your day, and then tomorrow we'll get back at it.
Well, this is one of the topics that I actually love, and I hope that a lot of people can resonate with this. Uh, because I'm having a bad morning, or I got like news the night before that I could not sleep with business, and I got really something on my mind, and I can't give you the energy that you need as a wife and me as a husband to give you that up.
Mhm.
Like, I don't want to bring you down, but one of the best things that you ever do for me is you shake it out for me. And you do your dance, and you're like, come on, it's gonna be a great day. And I'm like, oh, this is I don't show it.
But you can take a breath.
No, I don't show any emotion to you. I'm like,
You make fun of
but
me.
I walk away and I'm like, it's gonna be a great day. Because I know that the partner that I chose.
That's what we tell the kids. Like you get to choose your day.
Mm,
You can have your feelings all you want. And if you want to have that kind of day, then have your feelings and get over it.
yeah.
So you choose your day. So you want to make it a better day? Like, all right, let's go. Let's smile.
And
We can have a fight, and the next minute I'm good to move on.
I'm not. 3 days later, here I am, still trying to talk about it.
No, we're good.
Yeah. I wish I could be like you. Honestly, I look at you some days and I'm like, she didn't care about that fight, but she did. She accepted it. She accepted the apology, and now she's moving on. Me, I'm like, I didn't apologize enough. What can I do? Can I make her breakfast? Can I make her a coffee? Can I
Make me coffee.
can,
That's the best
I
thing
make
of my
her
day.
coffee every
I
morning.
know.
That's
The best part of my morning.
That's just a given.
As long as I hear it's starting to brew, I'm happy.
So you're saying I'm like Folgers in your cup?
You are.
All right, good. Thank you. I appreciate that. Now, so
We can fight the night before, and as long as I hear that coffee brewing in the morning, I know it's gonna be okay.
yeah, and there's
You
some
don't hate me.
and there's some days that you wake up and you're like, you didn't start my coffee, and then you'll hear it brew like this morning, and you're like,
Okay.
thank you.
You aren't mad at me.
Yeah. But being business partners and being life partners is it's hard, right? And this is the struggle that we've dealt with for the last 2 years, is because as a business partner, you want to talk business, you want to talk shop.
Mm-hmm.
As a life partner, you want to talk kids, you want to talk, schedules, and you want to talk, um, you know,
I want to
wh-
plan a trip.
right. And
What
like,
are we doing this weekend?
right. But in the beginning, it's really tough because one, you weren't ready for this.
No.
Two, you're coming up into your own, and we are finally connecting on a on a life partner level. Now we're starting to connect on a business partnership as
Mm-hmm.
well. And one of the tricks that we use is, I want to have a meeting, or I want to have a talk, and we use meeting
Mm-hmm.
uh very loosely. But like, all right, are we talking marriage? Are we talking business? Are we talking kids?
And let's not get off topic.
And let's not get off topic, right? And hey, I want to talk about the kids. Okay, well, what do we got? All right, well, we have this, and that.
Easiest one. Run right through.
And we run right through it, and we're like, and we're both there, and we both
Mm-hmm.
understand. Marriage, I usually bring up, and I'm like, hey, I want to have a marriage meeting today. Let's talk about this. I don't like this. And you're like, well, Mike, you're a fat fuck. I don't want you, like, I'm sick of you doing this. And I'm like,
I do not speak that way to you.
I know, but it's for effect for Dylan.
I know you're making, yes, you're making everyone believe.
Because Dylan digs it back there. No, so, having these meetings and telling the other partner, that was probably one of the hardest things that I have ever dealt with, was telling you the things that I didn't like about you
Mm-hmm.
when we had our marriage meeting. And you do the same thing to me. And we both sit there and we're like, I didn't know you felt that way. But we never got mad at each other when we sat there and said in the beginning,
Not in a fight.
this is a
Yes.
marriage meeting.
Right. We're not
And
having a fight.
I want to talk. I want to talk to you about this.
I'm not nagging, but
And I'm like, if you leave the kids' cereal bowl out there when you leave for work, I'm going to lose my mind. And you're like,
there's two of us.
note it. Have a great freaking day. And no, I'm kidding. But no, like we actually, when we started narrowing down exactly.
And I think because it was so easy to get off track.
Yes.
And as soon as we start talking about one, it would be like, oh wait, Abby has a game tonight. Are you taking her? Or am I taking her? And it's like, no, we were in the middle about talking about bank accounts. Like it's not the same thing.
Right.
Stay focused. And I think it is so hard to stay focused. And I love the one thing I saw, obviously on social media, but it was like I went downstairs, like washing the dishes, needed a paper towel. So I go down to the laundry room to get a paper towel. Okay, well the laundry was done, so I switch that and I bring it upstairs. And then I'm putting the toys away. I'm doing X, Y, and Z. Okay, now I bring some cups downstairs to the kitchen. And then I go to clean up a mess and I still don't have the paper towels. And I think, for you like to stay on task. You like to complete a task and move on. And it's easier for you mentally, and you are very calm about that. Me, I mean, the inside of my brain and how it works, and I'm all over the place. And it used to really upset me. But then I try to compartmentalize that and say, like, well, the laundry still need to be done. The toys still need to be picked up. The paper towel still need, so whatever order I did it in, it's going to take 5 minutes to do this now, or it's going to take 5 minutes later. So it's okay that I did those things. But it's easy to get off track.
Absolutely.
In life and conversation.
And I would say confidently that the one thing that you lack in business, in life, in marriage, and as a parent. Oh, I know. You're gonna love this.
Bring it.
I know. Don't divorce me now. You do not know how to delegate.
No, I do it best.
You're absolutely ridiculous. I fold the clothes.
You can. No, I think, and I really don't think I'm one of the ones who think I do it best, so I need to do it. I think it's more like I feel bad. If you sit down for a minute, I'm like, well, he just sat down. I'm not going to make him do this.
Yeah.
I can fold the laundry. It's fine. I'll put the kids in the bath and I'll fold the laundry while I'm doing it. It's not I do it better. It's I feel bad.
My mental appreciates that. my physical
You need to
body,
do something.
you need to get me going
Well, and
because if it's not the body moving, it's my brain moving.
It's not
If
good.
you sat there and said, Mike, just do this, I'd be like, yeah, dude, I got you.
But I think that's part of the mental load too. And it's the hard, another buzzword right now, but it is because while I'm doing the lunches, while I'm doing the laundry, while I'm doing anything, it's like, okay, well, I have to order a graduation gift. We have to remind me, I need to order a hard drive. There's different things that I need to do that are constantly, we need a hard drive.
You gotta say, Dylan, give me a hard drive.
No.
You can't just point to him.
No, it's just in my head that I'm like, I want to talk to him
Nobody knows
later.
where he's at.
I want to talk to him later about that. But that's what I'm saying. Like, there's always something on my mind.
What the hell is the hard drive for? What is this?
We want to download all these.
Oh, what?
Video.
All right, that's fine.
Ooh,
That's
boy.
fine. Oh, yeah, no,
Okay.
hey, look,
like,
I'm going to be the jealous husband right now.
So what I'm saying is that, we're always
Dylan's
thinking
blushing.
of something else. So yes, I can tell you to do the laundry. I can tell you or ask you to make the lunches, but it's still in my mind. If I came downstairs and lunches were made, and you're like, hey, I made lunches today. Great. Thank you.
Still on my mind.
No, once it's done, then it's done.
No,
the laundry's folded. Great. It's off my
because
plate.
the thing is.
But now when's the next doctor's appointment? When's the next game?
But we're
Do they have shoes for tomorrow?
We're talking to people who probably just had kids or they're in the 2-in-1 phase. And, and the husband comes down and they think they're doing good. And they do
They send the baby across the street.
Oh, stop that. She was 2 weeks old. I just wanted you to have a break. No, so like I did the laundry and I folded the clothes and you were like, I was going to do that during my show. I'm like, what show? They're like the show that I never get to watch. And I'm like, oh, okay. I guess it's one of those Chicago Fire or ER or whatever, Grey's Anatomy. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So either way, when you do those things, it's not out of your mind. You sit there and you feel bad that somebody else did this work for you.
Like I said, it's not that I do it better. It's that I feel bad that I should have been able to do it. I should be able to do it all.
Right. And
and that it stinks.
Is that a trust thing?
No.
Because it happens at work too. It
happens everywhere. And I think that's the hardest part.
Yeah. Like you don't want people to count the drawer. You want to be there during the lunch rush and you want to go to Costco and you want to go to Wegmans. Well, and I say Wegmans because it's not Acme anymore because we don't go there because they're too expensive. And Acme, get ready because Wegmans is coming. You have a lack of trust, right?
I don't think it's trust.
Okay.
I don't think it's trust. I think it's
But nobody does it better than you, right?
Again, no. I think it's that. No, I said it's not that I don't think anyone, like I know you can make lunches. I know you can do laundry. I know the staff is very capable of doing what they need to be doing. Right. It's that I feel I need to help or I need to be a part of it or I need to assist. I need to support. I need to be a part of it.
We cut peppers differently.
We do.
I think you watched a different YouTube because we used to
watch a YouTube.
Hold on, we used to cut peppers differently.
So the luxury of being able to watch a YouTube video while you're cutting peppers and not just be like, I got to get dinner done and I'm going to cut this, but Abby, do your homework and.
Oh, so you get mad at me for being able.
Yes, when you cut peppers, you are so relaxed. When you prepare dinner, you are very relaxed and in the moment, and that's the other thing, you're in the moment of doing whatever task you're doing. You enjoy whatever task you're doing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Again, this goes back to me still on the book fair's next week and we have this going on and I need to order this or I need to do this.
That I don't like.
I know. So you enjoy cutting the peppers. I wish I could turn it off.
You should start enjoying the book club and the book fair and everything that goes on with the schools. I just wish I could turn it off
and be present in the moment as opposed to always thinking of the next thing or preparing for the next thing. Right. But I think as a parent, as a business owner, as a husband and wife, like I think we constantly do have that on our plate. We constantly, it's not a 9 to 5 where we get to go home and turn it off for the day. We are always on. We're always researching. We're always looking into, well, what time should I post that Instagram
Right.
post because it's
Right.
going to get the most views? Like,
Yeah.
does it even matter?
And there is an algorithm to it.
There is an algorithm to everything in life. And once you have that figured out, I mean, great, but it's still a learning process. And I think, with the bakery, that's where we're finally getting to. We talked about like if you create your own thing, you're starting it from scratch and you get to put all the plays in place. You get to set it up how you want to. Going into the garage, going into bakery, because the owners were so hands-on and did everything themselves, there was no need to do any processes or procedures or have any checks and balances in place because they were always there.
That's the
And
boomer.
they were the checker.
That's the boomer mentality.
I think it's a new business mentality. I mean, we see it.
No, ours is a new business mentality. The boomers were.
That's how they ran their businesses. But I'm
Yeah,
saying like
because
someone
they
even
didn't want
our
to give up the money.
age. No, but someone even our age that's starting a business. They're doing it all themselves. And now they have a hard time
Well,
delegating and
starting a
giving up that
business
money
and buying
too.
a business is
It's
different.
different.
Yeah.
But without the processes and procedures in place, there were no checks and balances. So like
Mhm.
we're still trying to create, not even just for me, but to simplify things for them. There's no question. This is how things are done. And when something needs to be done, this is how we know. And I think that's one of the most important things. And getting pulled into the business and great, it's being there day in day and working alongside of everyone is great, but I'm not doing the business any favors. Whereas if I was able to complete a task and
Right.
and make this spreadsheet or make this checklist or do something that's allowing them to follow something easier.
So one of the things about your path,
Mhm.
right? Is it possible to love it when you get pushed into this? So if you went to work for somebody else, like you wouldn't be able to have that time with your kids in the morning. And I'm
Mhm.
glad that we didn't do it before the kids started going to first and
Mhm.
kindergarten or second grade and kindergarten. I'm glad we got into it before or after that they were, getting carted around from like, 9 to 11.
Preschool.
Yeah, preschool. And, but when you go into this path, that was not something that was your plan,
Mhm.
not something that you could even imagine or dream of. But what you get out of this is your kids
Mhm.
and you get to enjoy your life. But you also, oh, you're now the head of you're a captain.
But I do. You like you said, is it possible to love it? Like I do.
Okay.
And I loved the real estate when we did it. I loved the bakery. Like I love having that outlet. I do. I enjoy working, but I also enjoy being with my children.
Mm.
So that is the trade-off there. I think I did have something I wanted to say. Now I lost it.
Business owner.
Well, okay, so yeah,
Parent,
scattered brain.
mom.
Okay, that's exactly what I was going to say. You said, "What is your path?" Like my path has been scattered.
Yeah.
I worked many different jobs from when I was 15 years old, starting at Hallmark, and working 2 jobs through high school, working through college, working after college. There was never a direct path. Well, when I was younger, I said I wanted to be a teacher, and that
God bless
that
you.
fizzled out because God bless teachers.
Mm.
But no, people have a path they want to be on. They want to be a doctor. They want to be a nurse. They want to be a teacher. They want to, they love numbers, so they want to be an accountant. I never had that strong desire to be pulled in any direction other than being a mom, other than being a wife, other than being home and being with my family. And I'm not saying that's because I didn't want to work or I didn't want to contribute financially or I didn't want to have anything outside of the house to myself. I enjoyed it. But I think when, you said, can you love it? I felt and feel guilty for it. And I think we've had many conversations, I'll call them conversations, about that, because when we did the real estate and Abby was a baby, it was great because I could take her with me.
Right.
But some nights or weekends when you were home and you were able to stay with her, I felt left out. I got all those days with her that you weren't a part of, but all of a sudden you're home with her and I want to be there. I
Mm.
want it to be the three of us. I want it to be a family, not because you weren't capable of taking care of her, not because you didn't deserve that time, just the two of you, but I felt guilty not having that time as the three of us.
Mm.
And I think the same thing, with the bakery now. Well, I know I should be here. I know I should be there. I should be in 4 different places. So now I'm going to feel guilty if I'm not at the bakery. I'm going to feel guilty if I'm not at home.
Right.
And I think that's just that mentality. And it's different from yours, which you've said, you've had the entrepreneur mindset since before I met you. That was always a goal. That was always an ambition of yours. That was never in my mindset. So now to have that career and have that, it's amazing. It's, I'm proud of what we're building and how we're building it, of the businesses, of our family, of our relationships. But each one comes with a little guilt, because I can't be 100% to everyone at all times. And I think that's the hardest part.
I was going to say, one of the things that I love that you brought up was that you feel guilty because you feel like you're missing out. One of the things that I loved as a parent is that I had time with my daughter.
Mhm.
I had time with my son. And the times that you have to go out where you're going, it's not like you're going out and partying with your friends. You're going to work.
Mhm.
But the times that I get that, because obviously
Mom's number one.
you and I are so much alike, because we don't want to go out and party with our friends anymore. Like
No.
we want to enjoy each other's company. Like we are life partners and we enjoy our kids. And when you're gone, it's probably one of my favorite times, because the kids then all look at me. And when you sit there and say you're missing out, like that was me the first 6 years of Abby's life. Like I was missing out on her mornings. I was missing out on her nights. But if I see a lot of friends and family, and they all use a babysitter or they use a daycare, and both parents leave in the morning, kids at daycare or at a babysitter, and then they come home together at 5 o'clock after their workday, and now the kid is like, I choose mom. And if we had that resonate, I'd be like, no, come on. Like I want,
You want your minute.
I want
Yeah.
my minute with
Right.
my kids too.
Right.
And I love the dynamic that we have, is that, if the kids are sick, I'm home and you're working, sucker.
But that's the guilt again. Yes.
Yeah.
I want it sometimes, and you can't be. I know they're safe. I know they're taken care of, and they always will be. But I want to be there.
Right.
And there's sometimes you have to be somewhere else. And it happens. And I think that's what's great about us, is that we can, between the flexibility of it, make it work.
And being a working woman business owner with kids,
Mhm.
you're starting to see the great possibilities and the great
Exciting.
freedom.
Yeah.
And like, you're not making 500 grand a year,
No.
but you're also,
Everyone thinks you do as a business owner. It's all the social media reels, all the business owners.
Yeah.
I can make 500 and I can sit on the beach all year.
Yeah. And they put the nose strips on, and they take steroids, and then they're all sitting there like, oh, well, I just do ice baths every day. I'm
And
like,
they show
okay,
the
great.
best aspects, and they lie so they get followers, and then they create content and they sell you the content to make you believe you can do what they do,
Right.
without the hard work.
Without the hard work.
And that's the truth of it. And it's, to find something, that's why we enjoy meeting people who are also in it. Whether starting a business or working a business or
We're just working a job.
just working a job, we're all in it. How are you managing? How are you doing it? And how can we help each other? I'm doing this pickup one day. Do you need anything? Can I pick one of the kids up? Do you need a night out?
One of the funniest things I always see is the people who work from home, and people are like, oh, that must be amazing. You get to see your
Torture.
kids.
Torture.
No, I gotta work.
Yes. Torture.
Yeah. Like,
Especially the ones that have to be on like the video calls.
but there's also people who think when like there are times when they get to work from home
It's a
and
little more freedom.
you know they get the little pecker head that drops down on the space
What to
bar
keep something moving, or
and
the
is
thing that moves the mouse.
moves the
Yeah.
mouse, right? Anything that like keeps the computer on, it
Yes.
looks like they're working, and then they'll see like a big email or they'll schedule their
Hmm.
emails. I used to do it when I worked at home from the Navy. I used to wake up at 5 and I would have everything done by like
But
9.
there's nothing, and I mean, I think that's where bigger corporations have that problem too. Like they want you on all the time, which is fine. And now you can be connected. I think I was just talking to someone about this, but like in France, you're not allowed to, some companies don't let you check your emails before 9 or after 5 because they want you to disconnect. They want that work-life balance.
Yeah,
But at the same time, if you give me the freedom to do this, and I can answer an email at 3 o'clock in the morning, but I can attend my son's school event at 11, you're giving me that flexibility. Like when you would have employees, you would say like, "Oh, is the work done? I'm not going to sit here and scrutinize your time and make sure you're, you know, doing 40-hour work weeks.
right.
I know you're working. I know you're working when you're not working. Get it done. And as long as there's no issues, there's no issues."
There's goals during your week. It's not hours.
No.
And this is where the mindset starts getting crazy with people and saying your hours, your hours, your hours. No,
Complete the
like
task.
complete the tasks. Like
Be
it's
efficient. If you can find efficiency, then I reward you with your free time.
I would pay somebody $100,000 a year if they work 3 hours a day, but they completed
They were
every
efficient.
task in that day.
And I mean, that shows
And
that someone actually cares and they put the thought into it. And I think it goes a lot farther that way. Like you're not just stretching your time and wasting time,
right,
wasting company time doing nothing because you need to make those hours.
exactly. And there's a lot of I call them lumps because they just sit there
Mhm.
and they'll be like, "Oh, I did my time this week." No, did you do anything in that
Well, and
time?
I think bigger corporations absorb that into their budget.
Of
They
course they
know that you're
do.
only getting 20 hours out of someone's 80-hour pay period. But, when it comes to small business, like you do want to make sure the people who are working for you are happy and are efficient and want to be there to get the job done, to work as a team.
Well, you know why big corporations hire those people to push the 10% that actually work, you know? It
Pick up the
gives
slack.
them motivation. It's like, "Ha, this hump over here, like
Gonna do better
I'll run,
than them."
I'll run circles around him." But no, I like look, we're getting off topic, and I understand that. The, one of the biggest things is a parent, entrepreneur, wife, partner. It it becomes really, really tough and you don't know how to juggle it all. This is why we have our meetings and distinguish what are we talking about right now.
Mhm.
And if you call me on your way into the bakery and you sit there and say, uh, "I want to talk," and that's when I'm like, "What do you want to talk about?"
Well, and I mean, it's not always in person. Sometimes we're in passing
Yeah,
or sometimes it's through text messages.
absolutely.
We have to find our ways to communicate because it is, we can be sitting down and having a conversation and one of the kids gets hurt. They're
Mm,
bleeding, or the garage calls and they have, you have to go deal with someone or something. There's always going to be interruptions.
right.
And we need to learn we had to learn how to continue conversations through the interruptions.
So my biggest question, I know you always get nervous.
I'm getting nervous. I'm just very
No, no,
curious. Where is this
I
going?
want you to teach aspiring, kids and 20-year-olds and 30-year-olds. What is one of the things that you learned as becoming a business owner
Mhm.
and, you never read a P&L. You never read a balance sheet.
Well, technically I should have in my college courses.
Well, you
I
say
did I did have all the accounting classes. So I did at some point, but again, it's not applying it to real life.
you can't. And you can learn
I can learn credits and,
uh,
all of that.
debits and credits is what
Yes.
they taught us, right?
Yes. Yes.
And we understand what that is,
Sure.
but they don't
Applying it to
managing
me
money.
and actually seeing the money leave the bank account
Yeah.
or come into the bank account is better. But yes, it's different when you
Yeah,
can apply
it's
it.
amazing if you have 1,000,000 and
Just
like
keeps adding.
800,000 come out, and they're like, all right, you're at 200,000, then you go back up to 1,000,000. Like there's definitely weights and measures that you can do with the business. But something that you're learning now.
I think have fun. We keep coming back to that, and it's like, have fun with it.
Mm,
Like you said, we're still gonna have to push forward. We're still gonna have something to deal with. You're gonna have good days, you're gonna have bad days. Um, but find the fun. Like you said, woman, business owner, mother, wife, all that stuff. Like it's exciting. It's something to be proud of. And I think that's what I, have a hard time doing. I have a hard time, seeing the good that we're doing, the children that we're raising, the businesses we're growing, and our relationship, only getting stronger. Um, but to have fun with it.
what about failure?
It's scary. No,
I
I think that's the
was gonna
hardest.
say
That's the scariest part. And I think
we fail
we do
daily.
fail daily. And I don't think we focus on our necessary failures. I think it's more the idea of a failure. We're more scared of the potential failure
Mm,
than things that actually fail. Because things that fail, we learn from.
ugh,
We never actually fail.
mm,
But the thought of failure is what keeps us up,
right.
is what makes us sick to our stomachs. Like we're letting down our employees, we're letting down our children, we're letting down each other. I think the potential to fail is the scariest part.
Right. I think what is it? Jocko says good.
I
Is
have
that his name, Dylan? Jocko?
I don't know that
He
reference.
says good. Anytime he fails or anytime
Good.
there's
Oh,
something like
yes, because you can learn from it.
if one of your like if let's just say the baker didn't come in Monday morning,
Right.
good.
Good. Now, what can we get out of
Good.
this?
Good.
Now, what comes from this?
What am I gonna do?
And I do. I think we're starting to embrace things like that. Like, we're very what's meant to be will be, and things happen for a reason. Kind of people like that is just my outlook. I am more of a flexible person, but the scary thought of potential failure
Mm.
is worse than your actual failures.
Now, here's one of my funniest things with being a business owner and being a father and being a husband and all the other fun things, a neighbor, a son, a brother. You're alone.
Hmm.
Even if you have a partner, you're alone.
No one feels exactly the way you feel or is going through exactly what you're going
You
through.
can talk to a friend
Hmm.
and they have no idea what you're going through. Or, the one friend that runs a business and, they're failing every day, but they don't want you to know that. And it's like a burden to them. Or you're doing the same thing and like you're failing every day, but you don't want to be a
I'm gonna
burden to
talk about it.
somebody.
No,
But why as a society, why do like as people, why do we not want to build each other up? Why do we want to tear each other down? And that goes for family, that goes for like I got a brother that breaks my balls. And I love him to death. He is honestly my hero. And he built a business after 20 years. Like he's went through the like
hmm
I talked about it before. Like he's went through the muck. He's been through the shit.
and you can learn from him.
And I can learn
Hmm.
from him. But I every time I always feel like he he will take his pleasure in putting me down some days. And but I know he loves me. And I know that he wants me to succeed.
Right.
Because when I talk to him off the grid and, I catch him on that one time that he's not in, he's going through the crazy shit that we're going through as a parent, as a
Hmm.
husband, as a business owner. He's going through the same things. And we're just getting started. He's actually probably coming up to his later years.
Yeah.
Old fuck. But he's getting to the point where he when he answers my phone call and we talk business, we'll talk shop for like
Hmm.
15 minutes. He gives me a great advice.
Solid. Yeah. And it's emotionless. It's straightforward.
Yeah.
Take the emotion out of it. And I think right now we're still in a very emotional state of where we're at with the businesses, where we're at in life. It's just very overwhelming right now. We have a lot going on. We have really, really great things going on, and it's overwhelming.
A lot of people do. And a lot of people have a lot going on. And that's, I think, one of the things that we fail to realize is that there are a lot of people that are going through the
Yeah,
muck.
in their
And
own way.
whether you're working for a business and trying to come up, or you're trying to start your own thing, or you want that side hustle to happen so much that you just keep sitting there thinking like, oh my God, we just did this and it did that. And we also deal with strenuous strenuous situations where we deal with addiction, and we deal with you know coping mechanisms.
Mhm.
Can we cope without a drink? Can we cope without smoking? Can we cope without um you know running?
That'll be a good one.
I
We should
would
do that.
I
That'd be a great coping
I
mechanism.
would love to, run. I was never fast. So why run if you're not fast? Like I'm not Forrest Gump.
You just got to get there. Tell the kids the ball has to get there. It doesn't have to get there fast.
I don't need I look, if you're not good at something, why do it, right?
You can be better. That's a horrible advice. What's wrong with you? In that case, I quit. No, just
Dylan, this is why this is the hardest interview I ever had, because she's just gonna break my balls at every time. And anybody else would be like, yeah, that's really good advice, man. I really dig that. Like, if you're not good at something, don't do it. Like, I might not be good at podcasts, but I'm gonna continue to do it.
right. And I mean, you grow at something, and it's exciting. It's exciting to see your path to possible and what you can do with it.
Yeah.
But never saw us owning a cafe. Never saw us owning a garage door business. But here we are.
I didn't see that either.
And it's exciting, and it's something we should be proud of. And I think that's something we're working on getting ourselves, this is real life.
Right.
This is real, this is happening, and we're going to continue to push through, and we're just going to make the businesses better. We're going to make each other better.
Do we have any rich aunts, uncles, any nothing?
SOL.
No
Yeah,
grandparents?
nothing.
Nothing?
It's all on us.
I don't know. I got $200 in
And
a.
then you won't give the kids anything later, so it's fine.
Why? I'll give them something. They can take my watch or my truck. I got something. Kidding. No, honestly, it's difficult when you deal with outside influences as well, right?
hmm
So when coming up as as a parent, like, people question the names of your kids, and when you come up as an entrepreneur, they're like, I love what you're doing, but I don't get it. And I'll never understand it, but they'll put you down behind your back. And you know why are you marrying this person, or this, or what do you do, like, why are you doing this? Like, everybody wants to sit there and question what you're doing.
You got to be able to tune them out.
Pff, Trust me, I know. I had a good friend of mine sit there. He stopped drinking, and I think he had seltzer in his cup.
Mhm.
And the one guy was like breaking his balls, and I don't know what, I forget what he said, but he sat there, and he was like, "You're not drinking?" He goes, "Why are you so worried about what's in my cup?"
Well,
He's
when
like,
you,
"We're having a conversation," and he's like, "I have a cup in my hand. You have a cup in your hand." He's like, "I don't care what's in your cup, but why do you care what's in my cup?"
well, I think when people do stuff like that, or they question what you're doing, it's because they don't want to focus on themselves. It's easier, like you said, you don't want someone else to know your failures. You don't want to tell anyone you're going through a hard time. It's easier to act like everything's okay. But if I point out what's wrong with you or what you're having a hard time with, the pressure's off me. The spotlight's off me.
I gotta stop being truthful to people. I tell them all the time I suck. Maybe I should just sit there and be like, everything's great. It's good.
Fake it till you make it.
Great. What do you gotta? You gotta like do the long great, and everybody knows that you're full of shit.
Depends who you're talking
It's
to.
great.
And then most people are like, "Oh, good to hear. See you later."
Yeah.
I don't want to actually know how you're doing.
I don't want to
I
know
don't want to know.
anything. Yeah, like the way when you
Tell me it's great and we're good. I'll move
Yeah.
on.
and when you sit there and you talk to people and they're like, "I'm good," I'm like, "Great." I'm not.
I'm really not touching that
I'm
one.
not even going near that one. I don't want to know anything.
I think it's important to surround yourself with people who are in the same realm as you at some point, whether it's business or family or life. And we're fortunate that we do have a few people, and I feel like we're growing that network of people.
Yeah.
And it's helpful. It's supportive. You're not alone. 'Cause like you said, you can be all of these things to all these people and you feel alone because you're the only one going through exactly what you're going through and no one's going to understand it.
It's just like any mental load that you take on.
Mhm.
Anytime you go through anxiety, you're
You're alone.
you're the only
Nobody
one.
understands.
You're the only one that's ever been through
Right.
anxiety in your entire life.
Yes.
And you sit there and you break down. You're like, "Oh my God, nobody would ever understand this." And then you talk to somebody and you're like, "Oh,
That's how I feel.
that's exactly where I went. That's exactly how I felt."
I can't wait for you to interview Lauren.
So what? So no, I'm scared of her. She's terrifying to me.
Thank you.
She'll shrink me. I don't want to be shrinked. I want to be shrunk in, like in Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. I want to be in the yard with a big ant.
Let that one
No, I don't want to. I want the big ant.
go.
Give me the big ant.
It's a scary movie when you watch it, man.
It is a scary movie when you watch it. They all get sucked up by the mower. All right, we're getting off topic. But yeah, having somebody not be in your corner, but yet be in your corner, but they can't fix it. And I think a lot of people are wanting the fix.
I think that's a good point.
Yeah.
Is no one can fix it for you.
Yeah, no one's coming to save us.
No.
You know, I look for a hug every time I come in this studio from Dylan. I'm like, dude, I am terrified to do this podcast every day that I come in here.
You just want a hug.
I want Dylan to come in and be like, "Hey, buddy.
Sorry, Dylan.
Hey, welcome. Like, hey, you're going to be great today." I'm like, dude, get me a chair over here and let's cuddle for a minute. Let's get a blanket and we'll relax. This is how much I appreciate Dylan.
Mhm.
And I love it. But no one's coming to save you.
No.
You got to pull your bootstraps up and you got to get going.
No one's coming to save you, but you do have people that could support you. And talking about it and knowing you're not alone because you have someone to talk to and talk about the good and talk about the bad. Like, hey, what did we achieve this week? What did we think we were never getting to that actually got through? What went wrong?
All right. Well, what do we do with our dopamine rush, right? Everybody goes on Facebook, social media, and they
Right.
talk about this new dopamine rush that comes to them when people comment and, like,
We gotta go outside and take walks or
but no,
play
I'm
basketball.
talking about the support system.
Right.
The support system, like everybody could be, "Hey, dude, that was really good. Like you did a great job."
Mm-hmm.
Am I looking for the dopamine rush fix? Or am I really looking for somebody to just sit there and be like, "Dude, you're good"?
I think it is at this point, it's the genuine people checking in on you and telling you you're doing good and doing well and making you feel like they actually care. And they aren't just giving you a thumbs up. And I think, if you were to do social media, you
Go to
may.
like. Go to like.
Sorry. Well, if you were to do social media, you might get the dopamine from that, but you are not a very social person. So I don't think that's
True.
the case. Um,
Well, I mean, we could sit there and we can post 30 reels about our business.
Mhm.
Get 5 likes. We post something that our son is going to urgent care to get 17 stitches in his eye. We get 400 likes, 500 comments saying, "Oh my
20
God,
phone
I am
calls."
so sorry to hear about this. Hope Buddy's okay. Hope that." bro, my business is dying.
I haven't talked to you in 20 years.
Can I? Yeah, exactly. Can I get a like here? Can I
Yeah.
Can you sit there and comment
And I
and be
do
like, hey,
see
you
that
guys are the best?
that's why there is some value in, BNIs or local community groups. Um,
Mike, so they can comment on your kids' eyeball going down too, or do you want them to
no, I want them
post
to
your
support the
business?
business.
Ah, yeah. Because
And
now
I
we get
do, I
now we get
do.
10 likes.
Well, and I do. I think there's value in that, or they share it. And that's a free way to support someone is by liking their stuff,
Mhm.
commenting or sharing. It's not even purchasing. Not
Right,
everyone needs a garage door.
right.
Not everyone's local to the cafes, but you might know someone who is. You might know someone who could utilize us. And it goes a long way.
Absolutely. So, what about? I guess we're getting ready to wrap up, but let me ask you, what could you teach an aspiring entrepreneur money management? What I know that's one of the hardest things in business because there's so many moving parts. You got net 30s with this vendor, you got net 60 with that vendor. There's always something that comes up. There's a leaky faucet. There's always a fridge that goes down, or there's something
Mhm.
always that happens.
A water heater, yeah.
Yeah. So, and money management. What could be the best possible way that you can teach somebody to, hey, you're just starting out, you're just coming in, you're starting this business, or you're buying this business? What is a money management innuendo that you would love to talk about?
I mean, I think you need the cash. You need the
But how do
pocket
you but
change,
how do you get to there? Because when you play from behind,
right?
you don't have that.
You don't. And a lot of people, I mean, as I'm reading more, they work their full-time jobs and they save. They scrimp and they save and they don't go out and they don't go on vacations and they bootstrap. They, raise the money, they fund themselves, they don't take out the loans. And they work really hard before they get to the business part of it. Um, so to have that extra money going into it for incidentals would be
Uh,
the best case scenario if it's possible.
Oh, of course.
And then honestly, like to just be smart about the loans and how you're working the money. And it's not going to be easy. There's always going to be something that breaks. There's always going to be something that happens. Um,
What do you do when you don't have those options? So say you lose your job and um you're doing a like a side hustle that becomes your main
mhm,
business, and you took out a bunch of loans knowing that you were going to lose your job.
mm.
What's the best thing you can say to somebody who is playing from a stance that they can't do that? Um, and they also have to, you know, they also have to raise kids,
Support our
and
family. Yeah.
yeah, they got to support a family. So, what's one way, like whether it's what $20, $500, like what do you do?
I don't know.
Like, would you build a bill for yourself, or I mean, that's that's probably one of the
Something we learned
mm,
later into it that we should have been doing from the beginning. Yes. And I think, we've gone through numbers so many times and trying to figure it out. And I was like, okay, well, if it costs this, we're going to put this much aside each week. And regardless, that's now a bill. So
mm,
we're assuming this money's coming out and it's part of our COGS. It's part of our expenses. This is it.
it goes into our numbers, and
Hmm.
we recommend that as if it was life insurance, or any type of
Yeah.
insurance, or our Pico bill. Like our Pico bill, like you need power
Hmm.
to run your business.
Right.
So
But you also need the funds to fix something if it breaks, or if you have a really slow month, you have funds to pay your people until you get to a better month.
and you
You need a slush fund.
yeah, and you keep going with that bill,
Yes.
and if hopefully you never use it.
Right.
Hopefully, that's
But
that's
it's
the
there,
hope,
right.
and it's there if
And
it's
it
needed.
eases that anxiety a little bit so you can keep pushing through.
Absolutely. So, um, is there anything else that you can talk about on that, or anything you want to give for last advice?
No, the money thing I'll let you finish with, but no, it's a constant, like, just know your numbers.
Mm,
You know, and even when you know your numbers, you're gonna feel like you don't.
right,
And it's still going to be stressful because you wanna be better. You always wanna be better. And I think that helps too because you want something to strive for. You don't wanna just be complacent in that, like, "Okay, great, we had a great month, and we're not gonna worry about anything now." Well,
right,
then what about next month? So it's a constant, you can do good, you can do great, you can do better.
right. And I guess we're going to end off on this is that even QuickBooks has a numbers for dummies, and you can go on there and they have a bunch of Q&A that
Mhm.
you can read about, which is fantastic.
Understand.
And they have a helpline that you can
Mhm.
call. They got an online
They'll send someone out.
yeah, they'll send
Mhm.
somebody out, or you can even AI. Is it AIM? Are we still doing AIM?
No.
No, we don't do AIM no more. No more handles. No more.
Nope.
Hey, at the gym, leave one. We don't do that no more. All right. Well, whatever. QuickBooks has it, and they don't have the away messages, but when you type in like, "Hey, I need help with figuring out how to do a P&L properly," and they jump right in,
Right.
which is fantastic. And a lot of people need to understand that if you do the research and stop watching a reel
And
to
asking
get
for
your
help.
to get your research,
Yes.
you can find help. Like
Yes.
there are a lot of tools out there that help
Mhm.
you. Um, and I mean, you're coming up into your own reading about things and understanding numbers. And, like when you run numbers, you're like, I did it. I'm like, cool, honey. Can we go back to being parents right now? It was like Saturday at 8 o'clock at night. But no, it's always fun. And Matt, it was absolutely terrifying to
I'm
talk
glad
with
we
you
didn't
today.
rehearse.
Uh, we didn't what?
I'm glad we didn't rehearse.
Rehearse.
Yeah, we didn't plan any of it.
Matt, we've been rehearsing for the last 12 years of our being together. That's what made me terrified about today. Um,
Yeah,
I was nervous that you were going to bite my head off, and I was nervous
could've.
that I was going to curse at you. No, I'm kidding. Um, I really appreciate you coming on the show
I really
today.
didn't want to,
I know you didn't.
but I'm happy I did.
Hey, look,
Thank you.
it you were saving me today. All right.
Fun.
From talking to another business owner and having some fun with people that would actually have a conversation with me and not glare at me like that. Only kidding. I love you. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any last save rounds? No.
Just have fun.
All right. Just have fun.
Have fun.
You know what? I agree with you. Just have fun. It's going to be stressful,
Yes.
and it's
You
going
might as well have
to
fun while you're doing it.
it's gonna get ugly, and you're gonna have days where you're gonna wake up and be like, "Oh my goodness, why did I even wake up today?" No, have fun with it. Enjoy the bad along with the good, and just know that hopefully God gives you another day. Right,
Yep.
Matt? Thank you. A special thank you to Young Junk. Great Another great episode, another fantastic situation with the Will Smith and Jada Pinkett table round tables. This is where marriages come to maybe die, I don't know, but we're trying to save them on this show. Never. I know, only messing around. Hey, look, thank you, Dylan, thank you so much, and I think we are good.
Young John!